Welcome to Into the Night. I'm Nari, your guide on today's excursion down a twisted path. Be careful not to get lost. Be it dark or light, it's easy to lose your way. Are you ready? Then let's begin. Greener Pastures, Part 1. The soft tinkling of wind chimes brought a relaxed smile to Meg Carter's face. As a child, her grandmother's wind chimes fascinated her. She'd spent hours on the wraparound porch, listening to the soothing melodies softly jingling from their whimsical chimes. So many pleasant memories were made at her grandmother's home, and Meg knew she wouldn't be who she was today if it hadn't been for the gentle direction of the woman she now missed so much. In honor of her late grandmother, she hung her prized possessions, the wind chimes left to her, on the porch of her new home. Meg took a moment to watch the sunset as the earth quietly nestled in for the evening. Meg's heart ached for peace and a sense of security. Since her divorce nearly a year ago, times had been rough, and she felt like a vagabond, drifting aimlessly in the world. She knew what Grandma Peggy would say. Meg, honey, if you ever find yourself in a bad situation, remember that there are always greener pastures. Don't ever feel trapped in any job or relationship because you can find better. Meg reveled in the promise of a new beginning in a new town. When the principal of the high school in Greenfield offered her the English position, she took it as a sign that better times were ahead. Sure, it meant moving across the state to start over, but wasn't starting over what she hoped for? A change was better than constantly confronting the memories of the past decade. So with little more than what she could pack in her car, she pulled up stakes and made her way to this place, this greener pasture near the Kansas border. Granted, the new job didn't pay much, but she'd faced hard times before. Meg looked through the living room window at the stack of boxes. Unloading that day was easy since she'd brought so little with her, but Meg looked forward to the arrival of new furniture. Haskins Furniture assured her it would be delivered no later than tomorrow afternoon. A bed would have been nice to sleep in tonight, but Meg layered blankets on the floor to serve as one for now. The house wasn't fancy, and it sat at an intersection across from a busy gas station. But Meg didn't care. She didn't need fancy. She needed stability. Standing on the front porch, smelling the sweet fragrance of flowering vine growing in the neighborhood, Meg watched the sunset on the horizon. Electrical lines crisscrossed in front of her view, but that didn't lessen the beauty of the night. The vibrant reds and oranges made the sky appear on fire. She was lost in her thoughts while she watched the glowing sun fade. She admired the twinkling stars above and the stillness of the evening. The town was quiet, so quiet that when she thought to look at her phone, she guessed it must be quite late. As she snuggled into her bed of blankets, she sighed. The next week was a blur. The job offer came so late in the summer that school was about to start before she could settle into her new home. She didn't know a soul in Greenfield except for the principal, and that was only as an acquaintance. Hal taught science at the same school she had years ago. Even back then, they hadn't been close friends, and in the years between, they'd lost touch until crossing paths over this job. The house still needed repairs when she moved in, but the landlord hired a crew to finish up the work. One afternoon, after setting up her classroom at the school, she returned home and fell into conversation with one of the workers. So, you're the new English teacher? Yeah, I'm excited to be here. The woman raised her eyebrow and shrugged. What? Is there something I should know? You didn't happen to grow up around here, did you? No, but I grew up a few hours from here, not far. Right. But you're not from Greenfield. Good luck. What do you mean by that? This town doesn't like strangers. Just good luck. And don't count on staying here long. I've seen them drive people off. Seeing the worried look on Meg's face, another worker, a young man named Todd, spoke up. Hey, Sue, that might not happen to her. Give the lady a chance to settle in. Oh, right, I'm sorry I said that. I'm sure you'll be fine. I hope so. I need a fresh start. Todd smiled a sheepish smile. I wouldn't worry, Meg. Some outsiders fit right in. Maybe you're one of those lucky ones. Later that night, the workers' comments played over in Meg's head. Meg turned off the light and went to sleep, still uncomfortable by what she'd heard. The next morning, work began in earnest. Class wouldn't start until next week, but the teacher in-service days kicked off the new year ahead of time. Some of the teachers were warm and friendly. Others were less enthusiastic about the newcomer. The atmosphere turned downright icy at the district-wide faculty meeting that afternoon, however. Hal introduced new teachers one by one, making them stand to be recognized. He saved Meg for last. Now, I'd like to introduce you to someone I've known a long time. She's an author. I want you to meet Meg Carter, our new local celebrity. His enthusiastic words were met with a tangible pall that fell across the gym. Meg awkwardly smiled back and sat down in the bleachers. The sideways glances several teachers sent her direction confirmed her worst fears. A few teachers made their way over to say hello. All were brand new to the district. Meg remembered seeing them stand up during the introductions. All but one, it turned out, was from somewhere other than Greenfield. So, we hear you've written a book. What's it about? Christy Linwood, the new business teacher, asked as she shoved her notes from the meeting into a large black satchel. Meg took a deep breath. It's just a collection of short stories I wrote. It's not a big deal. I'm certainly not a celebrity. Oh, that sounds interesting, Shannon Pratt, the new science teacher, assured Meg. I love to read. I'll check it out. But that was kind of weird for Mr. Larson to announce that you are a celebrity to the whole faculty. Yeah, what a way to turn people against me here. I was told that this town doesn't like newcomers, and I don't want any trouble over something so stupid. Lydia Simmons, the new Spanish teacher, nodded. What you heard is right. I grew up here, and these people are vicious. If I didn't need to come back here to help my parents out, I wouldn't be here either. Try to keep your head down and don't talk about your book as much as possible. Look out for Sylvia Wainwright, too. She's a pillar in the school and is very possessive of the English department. If you get on her bad side, it's not pretty. I'll keep that in mind. It sure is nice to have some friendly people to talk to here. So far, none of the other teachers have said much to me. Same here, Christy shook her head. I think we all need to stick together and try to dodge the potholes in this place. For now, let's head out and get some lunch. Shannon nudged Meg. Come on, we can all fit in my truck. Lydia, you're from around here. Where's the best place to eat? There's a nice little Chinese restaurant. How does that sound? Chinese it is. Meg grabbed her purse and followed along as Shannon led her way to the red Chevy quad cab. Returning to school after an enjoyable lunch, the women worked in their classrooms and attended the remaining meetings on their schedule. For the next 3 days, they kept busy readying for the new school year, signing up for insurance, and attending the slew of meetings that kicked off every school year for teachers. Meg spent the evenings in the quiet of her little home. Most nights were uneventful, but one night, while rocking on the porch, she gained a companion. An orange and white kitten marched up the steps and claimed her. Little guy, I think I'll name you Charlie. That's it. If you don't already belong to someone else, I hadn't realized just how lonely I was here until you came along. How about I get you some food and bring you inside? Charlie purred loudly and instantly made himself at home. The next day, Meg asked the neighbors if he was their cat, and regardless of who she asked, the response was always the same. "He was dumped here a few days ago, and you're more than welcome to have him." It was settled. Thank you for joining me for Into the Night, an anthology series written by Caroline Giammanco, narration and sound design by Nari Kwak, theme music by Nico Rodriguez. All original music and editing in part provided by Flyboy Entertainment. You can find our links in the show notes. Please remember to like and subscribe, and if you enjoy what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review to help other excursionists to join us. You can find us on your favorite podcast directory. See you next time. And remember, whether in the shadows or in the daylight, all twisted paths take you into the night. Into the Night is a Creative Typo Entertainment production.